This is the best way to get under a minute in the Hobgoblin leader battle for the time. Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? NoGoodEman coming to you today with a Hobgoblin leader battle for the time guide video. So guys, as you guys know, there's two bosses this battle for the time season. So here's part 2 to part 1's video. We just released Essel Radaru battle for the time, so make sure you check that one out first, or check this one out first, whichever you prefer, whichever one you need. But guys, I got under a minute, but how can you get something similar? We're going to talk artifact stats, players, and more. But before we talk a single thing, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss a live or an upload. Now let's go ahead and get started, get straight into it. Honestly, there are so many combinations, so many teams, so many artifacts, so many weapons you can run, but we're just talking about under a minute. And honestly, guys, I'm not trying to give you the world record guide. I'm not trying to give you the fastest guide, but let's shoot for under a minute, and then you can go from there. You can, of course, alter this, method to your madness, whatever the case may be. But as you can see, we have the team Maylene, Isla Wright, and Akari. Now, with that, we're going to pair that with Plum and Grimoire. Yes, one of the favorite duos in the game. And then as far as the shadows, we have Beru as the primary shadow, we have Serbi as the sub shadow, and then we have Igris as a sub shadow. So let's actually talk about this real quick. In this battle for the time, you're going to need a high amount of attack if you're trying to kill the Hobgoblin leader without breaking his bar. Now, of course, there's methods you guys can run to break his bar and get a good score. I don't know if it's going to be under a minute, but there probably is some records out there. Like I said, this battle for the time is very crafty. So with that, Beru is the first shadow because of that crit and attack buff. Honestly, at max, you're looking at 5% to your crit hit damage increase and a 5% to your attack increase. So it is very good. With that, Serbi for that combustion debuff, and then Igris also for the bleed debuff. Honestly, when it comes to the Sun Genu side, there's not too many sub shadows you want to run. Beru is more so like a sub shadow, but this time we do want to run Beru first instead of Igris. So that's why it looks like this. Now, of course, you can substitute it like this, and you could probably see good returns as well. I'm not gonna lie, this is honestly probably hits just as hard. It might hit even harder for some of you guys, but try out either one of those methods and then go from there. Now let's talk artifacts. Honestly, it can get a little bit complex. I do want to say for the Genu artifacts, you can combo this up as much as you guys want. You can run toughness, you can run curse, but what I personally saw that got me 47 seconds was the Warmonger set. And then the main reason why people want to run this is because when you do use your attacks and your attacks hit, this will increase your attack and defense by 3% for 8 seconds, and this can stack up to 8 times. So at max stacks, you're looking at a 24% attack and defense increase, and this is very good for battle for the time because when you're going for things like speed runs, you want to get your attack as high as possible, as fast as possible, and this has a cooldown of 0.5 seconds. This is why the Warmonger set is starting to be more meta for battle for the time for DPS units instead of Burning Curse. Now, honestly, if you're not going to run Burning Curse as well, people are starting to run the toughness. So these are probably the two main sets that I'm seeing being ran in battle for the time. So use either one of those you like. Now on the right side, I'm not gonna lie, this is becoming meta as well, but the Obsidian set is definitely one of the best ones you want to run. I do also vouch for the Executioner set, and then I also do vouch for that Viridescent set, stuff that increases your damage while reducing your cooldown. So with that, very nice, very lovely. As far as the other hunters on the field, you see them right there. Akari is rocking Holy set along with 4-piece Peridot. But Isla is rocking 4-piece Palace with 4-piece Peridot as well, and then Maylene Fisher is rocking 8-piece Burning Blessing. Now, with that, whole lot of yaps. Let's talk about the blessing stones though. We've got Sharp Perception, Double-Edged Sword, and then Bloodlust along with Intuit. Okay guys, now let's talk, because if you don't have Intuit at Legendary, you're probably saying, hey, what do I run now? Look, I'm gonna keep it real, guys. You can probably go all strength and then see very good returns there. I do probably refer you to old battle for the time guides, because this is probably the 3rd time I've seen the Hobgoblin leader. Netmarble, if you're watching, step up your battle for the time game, okay? We're starting to see too many new bosses, or too many old bosses, right? So let's get some variety going and let's get some new bosses. But the point is, guys, there's various other skills you can run. Things like Reawakening, things like Weakness Detection, things like, let's say, Advanced Dagger, things like Mana Rampage. So I'm not saying you do need all legendary for this lineup, but that is what got me under 47 seconds. And then again, I don't know if course effects in battle for the time, so we're gonna have to see the verdict on that. But guys, definitely these artifacts, these hunters, these weapons are nothing normal. So you already know the run's not gonna be anything normal as well. So let's get to it. Are you the king of the hobgoblins? To start, we're gonna activate Maylene Fisher's support skill, and from there, I'm going to use the Overshadow QTE. Now, honestly, there's a bunch of things you can go about with phase 1. I did end up using, let's say, Liberation first. There's been many times where I used Maylene first, but regardless, you just wanna clear all these phase 1 mobs as fast as possible. This should be your shortest amount, and honestly, I did end up using things like the Surprise Attack QTE, and from there, I was able to use Liberation on one of the mobs while full blooming the other one. Now, honestly, this is a terrible phase 1 and 2. It got me 16 seconds. I've been doing other runs, but honestly, I still couldn't have beat this score. So with that, this is the best phase 1 and 2 I could definitely do. I do recommend you probably do Liberation to start, and honestly, even using Akari or Maylene support before you do even get to phase 3. So with that, this is the most imperfect Battle for the Time run you're gonna see. So I know you guys can get probably near 45 seconds, near 40 seconds. So go ahead and comment if this run helps you out. Comment how far you got or how fast you got. So I'm very excited to see that. But from there, we summon the shadows. We of course use Akari, and then we use Liberation. Make sure you use all your Liberation skills because Liberation boosts your attack as you guys use the skill. So we want our attack as high as possible. We want our damage increase as high as possible. That's from Isla Wright being on the field now. And then we go into our Grimoire skill. So Grimoire, that Cold Ice Erosion effect, this is when we use Magnifying Slash. Now keep in mind, my Magnifying Slash is on Heroic, so I know you guys can do way better than me with this next part, but we get a good amount of damage off on the Hobgoblin, and honestly, he gets down to like 42%. It was unfortunate, so we did have to basically play out from here. You can kind of see I just basically threw every skill I possibly could, right? A full bloom to end it. I didn't even care about the bomb behind me. I'm just pretty much spitballing, and as you can see, well, 20 seconds of fighting, it got us this far, I can't lie, but there's definitely other better tactics you can run, but we're talking about under a minute. This is how you can get under a minute, guys. With that, go ahead and leave your thoughts, theories, and comments below about the Hobgoblin itself. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care. Peace. Minutes.
値に稼げそうだ。
Okay, that gets me like 15 seconds. I ain't give no fuck about no. I mean, chat, it'll do. It'll do.